Foxboro Rush said, hoot, hoot, hoot. Travis Thomas here with George Balejki. We talk all things Patriots, all things NFL. What's up, GB?
Doing good, man. You almost drew me offside with that hard count. First day of rookie minicamp here.
Yes.
It's finally seeing Drake Maye in actual football exercises
Yes.
in an actual Patriots helmet
Yes.
with actual Patriots coaches. And the Pats also have an actual lead of personnel. Congrats to Elliot Wolf. I'm excited to get that all covered today, bro.
A lot of actualities going on
Yes,
there.
sir.
You know, before we talk pure football, can we just take a look at Drake Maye coming into this rookie camp? Because, George, what was up with my man's pockets? These pants, now he's got on the sweatpants, but peep the pockets. What you got going on in there, bro? George, this reminded me of, you know, when chipmunks have like all the stored acorns in their cheeks. What's going on with Drake Maye's pockets here? You know he was making noises. You know he was jangling, jangling. Like, what's going on in those pockets, George?
I think he's a culprit of the wrong pants. I'm seeing like left pocket looks like it's phone, which is fine. I'm a right pocket phone guy. But then the right pocket, I think that might be like wallet and car keys. Probably his apartment house keys too. Like who knows what he's working with.
Bro.
I think the best part is you have a backpack on. Like get out of the car, put the key in the wallet in the backpack, hold the phone. And if you still got stuff, yeah, this is
it's too much.
Is the Patriots quarterback a bad decision maker due to his lack of processing of stuff to put in his pockets?
Oh, I see what you're doing
That might
here.
be the fate that the Patriots are working with right now.
Wow. Well,
Little
remember,
red flag.
Mac Jones on draft night had the principal walk. You remember that?
Yeah.
But my man Drake Maye here, I mean, this is like, remember in school the janitor had the keys and it had like 1,000 keys on the keychain? This is what I'm getting here. I'm getting like there's a lot of ancillary things, a lot of miscellaneouses going on in those pockets. But nevertheless, he showed up and his pockets full.
It just looks uncomfortable to me. That's my issue.
Look, he's off kilter. Even with his walk, he's off balance because there's so much stuff. But look, he did show up. He did play. All the reports coming out were that, hey, the footwork, as you said, George, the footwork needed work. He took snaps under center. He didn't do that at college, so he was struggling with that. He's used to coming out of shotgun. How about this? Drake Maye, quote on Drake Maye. Early impressions of Drake Maye, look, he has a lot to work on, end quote. So we already knew that, though, George. We knew that coming in. We knew that on draft night, taking this kid. I wouldn't say he's raw, but I would say he needs refinement, right? Every quarterback does to a certain extent in this draft class. But Drake Maye, maybe more so than others, because of the system he played in college, does need more refinement, does need to work on his game fundamentally, and he needs more polish before I know he's the savior right now, but before he's thrust into action, George, he needs all these things. But we knew that coming in, didn't we?
Exactly. I mean, you know me, man. I'm the president of the Don't Play Drake Maye Club, but that's just being candid because Drake Maye comes out and says that he has a lot to work on, making sure to temper expectations. Fan base, putting it out there to the roster, to Drake himself. If he looks at the quote, and I'm sure it's a coaching he gets behind the scenes as well, like, hey, work on the fundamentals, get your footwork down, learn about being under center. Even his shotgun stance has been switched up. In college, he led with his right foot. Alex Van Pelt is known to have his quarterbacks lead with their left foot in the shotgun stance.
Right.
That's something Joe Milton even has to work on. But yeah, everything I read out from rookie minicamp was he looked good, he looked fine, the arm talent was there, the athleticism, ball placement was give and take, good on some throws, bad on other, balls behind receivers, not leading them, just being off with his accuracy. And all right, I'm fine with that. If you're a Patriots fan, you have to be okay with that because that was the red flags. Those were the red flags of him coming out of college along with his processing. Well, now he's learning an NFL system along with a whole new system, working on his fundamentals, his footwork, on his mechanics as well. There's a lot for him to learn. New wide receivers, new coaching staff, new lingo, new offense. Yeah, he has a lot to work on.
Yeah.
And I think it's Drake Maye getting out in front of it, first day of rookie minicamp, talking to the media,
Right.
the one that was available to the staff and going, hey, he's a rookie. He's the number 3 overall pick. We have
Yeah.
a long way to go with him. And honestly, he can say the same with the whole offense as well.
Yeah, I gotta be honest with you, George. Going back to Drake Maye here, I think I still have to get used to such a candid head coach. You know, like even going back to the free agency thing that we've talked about, where he says we're going to burn some cash, and then they didn't. Which later he came out and said, I shouldn't have said that. I'm still kind of getting used to a coach, you know, around here that opens up and talks almost to a detriment at times. And, you know, he didn't say anything here really noteworthy that we didn't know, as you said. Like, we already knew. Everyone knows Drake Maye needs some refinement here. But even that, you know, Bill Belichick would just never say that. And so I'm still, like, kind of getting used to an extremely honest, extremely open head coach that's going to tell you how he feels. Hell, I talked about this with Adam Pellerin, George, where I said, you know, I've covered a ton of rookie mini camps in my career, and Adam said, well, I haven't, because the Patriots always had these things closed off for years. Now the media's at this stuff.
Yep.
I mean, it's just such a new day. It is refreshing, but even I feel like I have to kind of get used to it, because even these quotes about Drake Maye are sort of funny to me, that Drake Maye is so open about it. But look, let's get into the timeline of when we're going to see this kid, because we're waiting for the schedule release this week. We'll know it then. I know you have a theory on a bye week, which I actually agree with, believe it or not. But you know, I'm team, let's get to Drake Maye sooner than later. And the fact that he is working on taking snaps from under center, his coach is acknowledging he needs more refinement, he needs more work. All these things are great, but I still feel as though let's get it going. Get this stuff worked on then, because I want to go to this kid sooner than later, because I believe the defense is going to have this team in a lot of games. They're going to win games that we didn't see coming. And I need Drake Maye ready to go for at least, look, I'll give him a month. I may give him 6 weeks, but then I'm ready to go. That's my timeline, George. I know you have a theory, and I do like it. But if we're not talking schedule per se and where the bye week is, and we're just going off, when do you want to see this kid? I know you like later in the season. I don't. Give him a month. Roll with Jacoby Brissett. See if my defense can have, and Brissett can have me around 500, a game above it, a game under it, anywhere near 500. As long as we don't start 0 for or 1 for whatever. If this team's around 500, above or below or at, after that first month of the season, I'm ready for the Drake Maye experience. I am.
You know me, I want to wait till like week 14 to see him last 3 games of the season. But you mentioned it. The NFL is going to come out with their schedule Thursday night. And if we see a week 8, week 9, week 10 bye week, then this offense is looking okay. And Drake Maye, from what you've seen, says to you he is ready to be in an NFL game. Look, he is better quarterback-wise than Jacoby Brissett. If he is ready to play in the NFL, it's not a matter of does he look better than Jacoby Brissett. It is a matter of does he look ready to take on the workload of a starting quarterback in the NFL, make the proper reads, run an offense to be under center, give wide zone handoffs, because that's coming with AVP, Alex Van Pelt, as well as their offensive coordinator. If he's ready to handle that entire workload, processing, making reads, checking out the line of scrimmage, all this, then he's going to go. But I think the timing will matter. My thing is, I want him to wait till week 14. I don't know what your left side of your offensive line looks like. I don't know what your receivers look like. I don't know how your offense and the play calling is going to look with Alex Van Pelt. First time in his career is calling plays. But if we see a week 9 bye week, let's say, and this offense, the team is looking good. Not great, but okay. You know, the first 6, 7 weeks of the season. You get done with week 7, you go into week 8 as a bye, you tap Drake Maye on the shoulder, go, you're the one now. You're QB1. You're going to start taking starter reps, but we're going to do it with 2 weeks of a workload. The first week, let's do it. Work with the players, work with the offense, take reps, film study, everything as a QB1. Then the second week, now you're really starting the game prep. All right, now you're going to start scouting whoever the opponent may be. Let's just say it's the Miami Dolphins, because he'll learn that from Jacoby Brissett from starting in training camp preseason to week 1 through, say, 7 or 8. But now he's the guy. I think that could be the soonest we see Drake Maye. Now, if it's not that, let's say if it's an early bye week, or if he just doesn't look NFL ready come week 8.
Sure.
But to your point, too, you have to give this kid real game, live bullet experience, then I say wait for week 14, 15, 16, 17, because it's a 17, 18-week season now with 17 regular season games. But I say wait till then. You cannot rush him onto the field and set back the progress you're making. Because you have a kid that's learning how to have a stance under center. He said to himself, I'm learning 2 new stances.
Yeah.
Being under center, new shotgun stance.
Right.
How to give wide zone handoffs. How to learn the lingo of the offense. Working with the new offensive coordinator and Alex Van Pelt, who will be his 3rd offensive coordinator in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Working with Javon Baker, Jalen Polk, and then Kendrick Bourne, KJ Osborne will come into the fold. His 3rd different class of receivers, again, in the last 3 years. Because of losing receivers after his second year as a starter, first year as a starter at UNC to the draft.
Right.
Then, of course, you had Tez Walker last year and OK Crop. Now you're in the NFL. There's just so much being put on his plate. I don't want to rush it because this entire rebuild is a 2-3 year process. This roster is so bad that it's going to take more than one draft, more than one free agency class to turn things around and be successful. Now I'm with you. This defense will be great. And I think that's because of the continuity of the Drake Maye, of DeMarcus Covington going from defensive line coach to defensive coordinator. Keeping Mike Pellegrino, who's a key assistant coach, for the work he's done with the Jack Joneses, the J.C. Jacksons, right, of the cornerback group. Taking undrafted free agents and guys that were cast-offs and turning them into Pro Bowl-level players. That's what Mike Pellegrino did. You kept key assistants in certain spots, even when the Belichick stayed. And Brian Belichick, who's worked with Drake Maye since Drake Maye became an assistant coach, right? You have the foundation on the defense. This offense has a long way to go. So, you know my timeline, man. Patience. And I'm fine with it because you don't want to mess Drake Maye up. If you rush him too soon, and all of a sudden his mechanics and his footwork go to absolute shit because of how bad he is to start, and he has to learn this offense on the fly, and your offensive line sucks, and you bring him in too soon,
right?
You're going to be picking top 5 again in the next 3 to 4 years, and you're hitting reset again on a guy that has one of the, if not the highest ceiling in this draft class. And I'm talking Caleb Williams and Jaden McDaniels in that conversation as well.
This is why we disagree. Because, look, the Texans thought they had a 2 or 3 year rebuild as well, but they got the right guy. And now, here's where you and I do agree, though. You know, I agree with you in terms of the bye week placement. That's why this team, some of this needs to be the football gods showing favor to the Patriots, in that if their bye week is middle of the season or late season, to your point, you caught a break there, right? Because if it's middle of the season, by then, on my timeline, Drake Maye, we're turning to you, right? Coming out of the bye, we're turning to you no matter what the record is, unless Brissett's just playing lights out, which I don't feel like anyone really thinks. I feel as though Brissett's going to do what he always does. That's why he's here. He's a steady hand, and he's consistently average. It's what he is. It's not a knock. It's what he is. So if you get a mid-season bye, I think everyone would feel comfortable going to Drake Maye at that point. If you get it late, you get your timeline likely. But if you get it early, I mean, you got nothing. You get a bye week early, it's probably too soon, maybe, to go to him. But here's the deal I'll say. I'll tell you this, George. I think you may have to change your timeline if Drake Maye flashes, shows you pops in the preseason. I think the preseason is more critical with this young kid than maybe you even recognize. If all the reports are he's playing well in training camp, and let's say you and I go out to camp and we see it, and we're like, all right, hey, he's picking things up fast, you see the athleticism, and then we get to the preseason. Now, I don't want to put all my eggs in the preseason basket because we understand a lot of these guys are just trying to make a roster. Many of them won't, and they'll be bagging groceries at Market Basket. Not that there's anything wrong with that. But if Drake Maye goes out there and he flashes and he shows that athleticism in game script, and we see that against a little bit against ones, but mostly against twos, all of a sudden, now I've seen this so many times in my career, George, where that drum gets a little bit louder to turn to that young guy sooner than maybe any of us thought, just based on he made a couple highlight plays in the preseason. I think that I'm just telling you, like, that could be a curveball to your timeline. If this kid shows flashes in the preseason and it's an early bye, I'm telling you, the Patriots may go to the Drake Maye, pun intended, era sooner than you think, George. Just be ready for it.
I want to put the pin in the conversation for two different spots.
Okay.
You brought up the Houston Texans, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Nico Collins drafted 2021. Grant Delpit 2022. Tank Dell 2023. CJ Stroud 2023. Will Anderson Jr. 2023. I brought up Delpit and Will Anderson Jr. because those are two key guys on that defense.
Absolutely.
But the receivers were there.
Yep.
They went out, traded for a Shaq Mason.
Yep.
Went out, got a Laramie Tunsil.
Yep.
Key guys on that offensive line. Shaq Mason was starting for them at guard in their playoff game this past year.
Yep.
Bobby Slowick was your offensive play caller.
That's right.
Who came from the Kyle Shanahan coaching tree. You went out and got a Dalton Schultz, a Damian Pierce, right? That happened overnight because C.J. Stroud was ready, but don't take out the factor of everyone around him. Mm-hmm. What do the Patriots have on the left side of their offensive line? And through the rookie minicamp, to me, is something I want to point out to. Surprise, surprise, I'm going to bring up the offensive linemen. You had Caden Wallace and Layden Robinson at left tackle and left guard. Right. Because your left tackle last year was Trent Brown. He's gone. Your left guard is Cole Strange. He's coming off offseason knee surgery and rehab. Your left tackle is Chuck Okorafor. You could have two rookies on the left side with a right-handed quarterback. A guy in Caden Wallace that was a right tackle for 40 starts in college.
Right.
That's why I want to pull the emergency brake on starting Drake Maye. Mm-hmm. But now the second part you bring up, if he's looking good in training camp, if he looks NFL ready, go back a couple years. Mac Jones straight up beat Cam Newton in the offseason that year in training camp. Cam didn't look great. Right. But Mac came out as a first-round pick, 15th overall, and outplayed him. Would have ups and downs in training camp, but was better than Cam Newton, named the starter. Right. Drake Maye is better than Jacoby Brissett, but is he an NFL-ready starter? And that's why I go be hesitant, because Mac Jones, much, much lower ceiling than Drake Maye.
Oh, yeah.
But a higher floor in a way. He was pro-ready right away. Right. Doesn't make the throws, isn't as athletic, isn't as dynamic, isn't as explosive, but had the processing, had the IQ, had the decent accuracy.
The polish.
And that shined through. I mean, he was a Pro Bowl alternate. Pro Bowls don't have much to me, but he's a Pro Bowl alternate his rookie year with Josh McDaniels.
That's right.
Again, experienced offensive coordinator.
Yep.
So that's why there's so many question marks around this offense. But I agree with you. If Drake Maye comes out and those feet look good, the accuracy is there, shoot. If he's ready week 1, start him. Yes. This is up to Drake Maye. This is up to his surrounding cast and supporting cast. Fair. But if you're Gerard Mayo, if you're Elliott Wolf, if you're Alex Van Pelt, your job rests on the shoulders of Drake Maye and his development. Mm-hmm. Shut Jonathan and Robert Kraft up. Shut Robin Glazer up. Because they can say, he looks good. Look at these reports.
Yeah.
Oh, we're all of a sudden trending and we're topical and we're cool again.
Can't have it.
But if you watch as the football experts that you are, and you say he is not ready to play 4 full quarters of an NFL game,
that's right,
and be successful and still develop and grow, you don't start him yet.
Absolutely.
That's where I put the pin in the convo. I understand what you're saying, though.
Yeah.
It's happened before.
Yep.
You remember Justin Herbert's rookie season?
Yep.
Tyrod Taylor's a starter.
That's right.
Team doctor puts a needle in his rib cage.
That's right.
And all of a sudden, Justin Herbert comes out. We're like, how the hell was this guy not playing the first few games of the season? But Justin Herbert was closer to NFL-ready starter coming out of Oregon.
He was. Many suggest that he could start from day one coming out of Oregon.
And I understand the comparisons and everything.
Yeah.
You're the Patriots. Don't worry about what happened with the Texans. Look at the long term of this franchise and this roster right now.
Yeah.
Just be right with Drake Maye. Because if you get this right, you are set for 10 years.
Yeah.
But if you get it wrong, you're in the same exact spot in the next 3 to 4 years.
That's a good point. By the way, it's not just the development of Drake Maye. I mean,
it's everyone else around him.
Well, not just that. Let's keep it to Drake Maye and look back on a rookie quarterback last season. Remember, there was a raw quarterback named Anthony Richardson that no one thought would be ready to start day one. He did. He looked great. But that athleticism, his gift, ended up being a curse because running around got him hurt. And that dude's built like the Incredible Hulk. So there's also that aspect of if you go to Drake Maye too soon, maybe because of some of the things I was saying. He flashed in preseason. He wowed in training camp. And he did clean up some of the things we're suggesting he needs to develop on, and they throw him out there too soon. I mean, George, you know this. Sometimes in growth with rookie quarterbacks, you live with the ups and downs of that, but they rely on their physical gifts, maybe a little too much. If Drake Maye gets out there and he's running around and he takes some shots and he gets banged up, well, that's another way you can stunt his growth as well. You also brought up Elliott Wolf, who we'll get to later, but I want to stick with quarterbacks for a second here because Elliott Wolf said on the Adam Schefter podcast that Joe Milton had, quote, too much talent to pass over him in the 6th round of the NFL draft. So let's talk Joe Milton here. I mean, we're talking about the development of Drake Maye and how long and timelines and all that. Well, there's another young rookie quarterback who's raw as hell who needs some development in Joe Milton.
Oh, yeah.
What's sort of your timeline there? I mean, obviously neither one of us think he's going to play at all this season. But as you look at timelines, and we're talking about how soon do you go to Drake Maye, how long do you wait? What's sort of your thought process with Joe Milton? Yeah.
As a reliable backup,
yeah.
Keep in mind this guy was 6 years in college, 3 at Michigan, 3 at Tennessee.
That's right.
His last year, 20 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. So he's 24 years old. When I saw that pick, you said raw. I mean, that's a light way to put it with Joe Milton.
Yeah.
Incredible arm talent, really good athlete, physically huge. He is a Drake Maye, just with a lot more work to do.
Right.
So I saw that draft pick and I go, all right, you took Drake Maye, 3rd overall. I was thinking you have to reset your quarterback's room because do you trust Bailey Zappi? Is a guy with a different system?
Sure.
No OC in there. Nathan Rourke, I mean, he's already cut. He's gone. I thought they'd go 2 quarterbacks in this draft, but I was thinking maybe like a Sam Hartman. Someone could go and be a manager.
Yeah.
But what they see with Joe Milton, and Elliott Wolf said, too much talent to pass up on, especially in the 6th round. That's a flyer at that point.
Sure.
If Drake Maye is your starter, let's say 2-3 years from now, right? And he can't go, your offense doesn't change with Joe Milton in, who has a better arm than Drake Maye.
He's a better athlete,
So
George.
that's what this draft pick was.
Yeah.
Is he a backup where plug and play, do you trust him? Or your starter's down for the next 2 to 3 weeks,
right?
4 weeks, 5. Can he keep the season on track?
Yeah.
Right now, no. But to get to that point, I give it 2 years minimum.
Okay.
But right now, with their quarterback's room, it's going to be Jacoby Brissett week 1.
Of course.
That's a question I have is who's the backup? Because if Drake Maye's not ready, is it going to be Joe Milton? That doesn't sound good. Now maybe we can see them go out and sign someone.
No.
But that's where you ask about Joe Milton, and I get what Elliott Wolf is saying, especially because this is a draft that was seen by experts.
Yeah.
That the first 4 rounds, solid. You'll find starters. After that, it's every man for himself. As in like 5th, 6th, 7th, just make picks. Instead of what we would see is normally like 7th round pick security they have, that's how it was 5th, 6th, 7th. Wasn't that deep of a draft. So with that 6th round pick, it's like another 7th, and that's what they took Joe Milton with. So I understand what Elliott Wolf is saying, and I see if it works out, and you trust your coaches, T.C. McCartney, Alex Van Pelt, right? Ben McAdoo. If you trust them, they will develop Joe Milton and Drake Maye to be the future of your quarterback room. And you have 2 guys, a starter and a backup, under rookie scale contracts, so it could work out well. Great for them.
I think you can trust it. I mean, listen, like Jacoby Brissett, not to say guys don't get hurt, but Jacoby Brissett, for the most part, is consistently available. And so, I don't have this fear. He's not this isn't Carson Wentz we're talking about. Not that Carson Wentz is any good, but I'm just saying a guy that constantly gets hurt. Marcus Mariota. I mean, Jacoby Brissett is always available for the most part. So because of that, I would feel comfortable if I'm the Patriots carrying both Drake Maye and Joe Milton as my quarterbacks. Those would be my 3 guys. And I wouldn't necessarily fear of going to either one of those guys, Drake Maye presumably, too soon because Jacoby Brissett is, has done a good job of being available and staying healthy in his career. So I would feel comfortable there. Now, as far as Maye and Milton, both of them need development. We understand that. But Maye is further along in that process than Joe Milton is. So I completely agree with you there. We're talking 2 years. to just sit and learn and soak it all in. But this is another guy. I keep going back to this example. We're going to have to be careful here because Joe Milton is such a freak that if we're going to get that much of a sample size of seeing him in bits and pieces, George, preseason, training camp, whatevs, I mean, he's going to flash. He's going to show you amazingness. And you know, Patriots fans and coaches are going to have to be realistic and patient with him as far as a finished product. You know, I covered Washington when they drafted RG3 in third overall or second overall,
and
whatever
then
it was.
fourth round, what happened?
And then in the fourth round, they took Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
Everyone at that time was scratching their head, why'd you even take Kirk Cousins when you gave up remember, they gave up the farm to get RG3.
Yep.
Now, you know, of course, in hindsight, the rumors were that Mike Shanahan, the coach at the time, wanted Kirk Cousins. He never even wanted RG3, right?
But then ownership trades those
But
picks.
ownership does their thing, and we know
Dan
the rest
Snyder
of the story.
steps in, yeah.
Now, here's what's funny. A teammate of both, and a friend of mine, Santana Moss, who was a wide receiver on that team, told me, he said, we knew in training camp, George, they knew in camp that Kirk Cousins was a better passer than RG3. RG3 obviously could run and was flashy. So I use this example to say we saw who had the better career, right? In this case, I think Drake Maye is more the Kirk Cousins, even though he was drafted higher. Because Joe Milton is so raw, he's going to rely on his athletic ability. What Santana Moss told me was receivers and teammates, offensive linemen, everyone knew RG3 was going to take off. If the read wasn't there, one read not there, boom, he's gone. He's a track star. Mm-hmm. He's relying on his physical gifts, right? Mm-hmm. Kirk Cousins would stand in the pocket, go through progressions, multiple reads, accurate as hell, get the ball out. That's what receivers want. That's what offensive linemen want.
Of course.
So I think Joe Milton over time is going to have to learn that aspect of the game. Stand in the pocket, deliver BBs. Yeah, your arm is strong.
I like that comparison.
Doesn't mean a damn thing if you're not accurate, right?
Yeah.
Drake Maye has the ability to have the discipline and the coaching to stand in the pocket sooner in his career than Joe Milton will. So that's why I think Drake Maye has a much better opportunity to get this starting role way before Joe Milton. Joe Milton may not end up starting in New England. He could get developed here and then go elsewhere and be a star. We don't know. But what you want to do is get him to a point where you're comfortable, because you're right. The offense can really, once you just have Drake Maye and Joe Milton, if Drake Maye goes out, Milton should be able to come in and run the same thing, maybe to a higher level because of his athleticism.
It's interesting, too, because I love that, you know, Washington football team comparison, but two completely opposite skill sets in RG3 to Kirk.
Yep.
But I understand the point you're making. What also was a part of that coaching staff wasn't just Mike Shanahan. You could run through the assistants. Kyle.
Oh, yeah.
Sean McVay.
Yeah.
Mike McDaniel
LaFleur
was there.
Yep.
Exactly. Matt LaFleur. 4 head coaches in the NFL
That's
right
crazy.
now. Now, those guys were young and inexperienced at the time.
Yeah.
But that was the brain trust behind RG3. And even Kyle Shanahan, a guy that would go up to him. I remember reading about throughout training camp, he would let RG3 call certain plays and actually implement plays from his Baylor days.
That's right.
He would run it, he'd hit it, and Kyle go, you know why that play worked? Because you wanted it to.
Yeah.
Because you called it with vindication. That's what I do with every play. I live and die by that. So there was a buy-in from the staff. I just wanted to add that nugget. But that's a great comparison. I love that experience you draw on. I have to ask you, obviously RG3 for him, it was injuries. And then Kirk got his starting experience and then franchise tag. But when was there the shift that you all recognized in DC of RG3's done? This is going to be Kirk's team. Or when did you first start picking up on, all right, RG3's a starter, but that guy Kirk gives him a better shot to win as a team?
Well, more so, and this is what worries me about Drake Maye and Joe Milton while we're talking about him. You know, it was less Kirk and more RG3's inability to protect himself.
Yeah.
George, this is so important. I mean, you and I have talked about Drake Maye's footwork just in this episode alone, but also past episodes of Foxboro Rush. If you haven't caught up, go check them out. But, George, just in this episode, we've talked about this guy's footwork, right? We've talked about taking the ball from under center as opposed to shoddy. Well, listen, some of the development as well is going to be, for both of these guys, protect yourself. You cannot have Drake Maye, who I watched get absolutely blasted at UNC. It's because his line sucked, but he took a lot of punishment. Credit to him, he got up. And he played with injuries, right? He was getting nicked up. He stayed in games. He played tough. I like all of that. But that's college, brother. I mean, that's Chapel Hill. This is the NFL, which stands for not for long if you take shots like that. So what I and all the media observed with the RG3 thing was this guy either refuses to learn or just cannot protect himself. When the coaches were preaching that, he wasn't doing it. Cousins didn't have to worry about that because he was getting the ball out.
Yep.
I believe Joe Milton and Drake Maye are going to run. They're going to buy time for guys to get open. So they're not going to be your traditional pocket guys. Cool. That's why you're here. But you must, in your development, learn how to protect yourself, to be available to your team week in, week out, and for your career year in, year out. That's how you get the contracts. Why do you think Tom Brady played 150 years? He protected himself. He got rid of the ball quickly.
And witchcraft, too.
Well, that too, but that can come later.
Yeah.
In the meantime, in between time, I want you to use your physical gifts, Joe Milton and Drake Maye, but you also have to protect yourself in the process.
I want to point it out, too, though. You mentioned that protecting yourself is important for Drake Maye as well.
Yes.
Because this is a guy, look, rookie minicamp is no pads, only helmets, against air, no one-on-ones,
That's right.
really. When the pads get on, people will be very impressed by Drake Maye's athleticism, but he is someone too, and this is something you have to teach him, and you can't rush him onto the field.
That's right.
He needs to learn that, yes, you're big, 6'4", 240, whatever his build is.
And fast.
230. And fast and athletic, can move, is shifty. Don't run through guys.
No.
We're comfortable with you taking off. You add that to the offense, which they didn't have in the past, right?
Yeah.
Slide, get out of bounds. That's something Drake Maye has to learn. And last thing, too, that coaching staff in 2012, Mike Shanahan is head coach. OC is Kyle Shanahan. Quarterbacks is Matt LaFleur. Tight ends is Sean McVay. Offensive assistant Mike McDaniel. Defensive assistant Bobby Slowick, who is the next head coach to be. And your defensive backs coach, Raheem Morris.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 NFL head coaches, about to be 6 NFL head coaches on that coaching staff in Washington.
Back then, George, no one knew. The only one I'll tell you, everyone knew Kyle, obviously. Shanahan was the next guy. And people did know Sean McVay. I remember hearing about Sean McVay amongst my peers in the media. They all knew that he was a boy wonder. None of those other guys who we see now have success. No one knew.
Yeah.
But that's one hell of a staff. We'll see how the Patriots staff shakes out when we look back on it years from now. And the development of both of these guys, Joe Milton and Drake Maye, is going to determine a lot of fates. All right, how about this? One fate has been determined. Elliot Wolf now, it's official, George, the new executive vice president of player personnel.
Wait, not general manager?
No.
Wait,
but
yeah, that's
the
right.
Patriots
They don't do that title.
They don't
That's
do
right.
that. Hey,
Robert
you and
Kraft
I
hates
saw
it.
this coming, right? Like we had binoculars. We pretty much knew draft night. As soon as he announced Drake Maye, number 3 overall, we both were like, all right, it's his job. There's his job security. So neither one of us are shocked, but was it the right pick? Was it the right man for the job? I say yes, simply because he took Drake Maye at 3. Honestly, I swear to God, if he took J.J. McCarthy or traded back or tried to outthink everyone, I will want this guy out of here. I said draft night, take Drake Maye at 3. Let's see what you do with the rest of the draft. I know you felt like he reached at places, but for the most part, he checked boxes for needs is really what happened, right? So look, I think he earned this. We'll see. You know, according to you, they're going to be picking top 5 again next year, so he's going to have to continue to earn it. But I think it was the right move, George.
Look, you or me could have taken Drake Maye at 3.
No, hey, you got to give him credit, George. You know damn well there's executives out there that would have overthought this or maybe even pulled a Belichick and traded back and got out of the pick. All these quarterbacks, was it 6 of them, George, in the first round?
Yeah.
You mean to tell me that one of these executives would have been like, hey, we're going to trade back, punt on quarterback, Jacoby Brissett's our guy, we'll figure it out later, or we'll take one late, and then get more picks. That could have happened. Elliot Wolf didn't do that. I think he deserves credit, George.
Fair. You stuck at 3. You picked the right guy. You went with Drake Maye. You didn't do J.J. McCarthy. My thought with Elliot Wolf getting this job as executive vice president, final say over the 53-man roster.
That's right.
Gerard Mayo runs it on the field. You run it in the meeting rooms and the scouting departments, and you put this roster together. The Patriots better hope this works. Because when they lost their head coach and GM and Bill Belichick, when they fired him, mutual parting of ways, they fired him. They didn't interview any coaches. It was baked into Gerard Mayo's contract going back last year. You are the next head coach. They didn't do a head coach search. With Mike Vrabel out there as a free agent, with up-and-coming offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators, Dave Canales in Carolina. Make sure to watch what he does.
That's right.
As a guy linked to Geno Smith's breakout year, Baker Mayfield's resurgence, now leading Bryce Young. Watch what Dave Canales does, right?
Yep.
With these head coaches now hired by other teams, Gerard Mayo was always their guy. They never did a search for a head coach because it was Gerard Mayo before Bill Belichick even lost his job. With Elliot Wolf, they didn't look for any GMs. They fired Bill Belichick, and Elliot Wolf was always the GM in waiting. We'll give him the draft. After that, we'll reassess. They did their weird interview process to satisfy the Rooney Rule.
Yep.
But Jonathan Kraft and Robert Kraft didn't look for a head coach, and they didn't look for a GM.
Right.
They looked inwards and elevated guys, which I'm fine. If it works, awesome.
Sure.
They better hope the head coach and the GM work because they did the laziest thing this offseason. The Patriots did not go out and try to find the best candidate for each position.
Mike Vrabel was right there, George.
Mike Vrabel was staring you in the face.
He'd love to be here.
The Washington Commanders, that actually wasn't a conscious slip-up.
It's okay.
People still make that joke.
People say Redskins back there all the time.
Jason Peters was poached from the 49ers to run the front office for the Washington Commanders. That was a guy linked to the Patriots.
Right.
You're going to Elliot Wolf, unproven, never done it before, but that's fine. You still have Matt Groh in your building. You better hope this works because you barely tried when it came to getting a head coach and a general manager.
Right.
So that's my Elliot Wolf reaction, to be quite frank.
I mean, bro, that's not fair to say that's lazy.
This isn't a criticism of Elliot Wolf. This is a criticism of Robert Kraft and Jonathan Kraft selling us this BS children's book on how to run a team. With elegant endings to Bill Belichick being no longer the head coach. Shut up. Make the right hires.
Listen, bro.
There's a lot coming. Stop taking shots on the roast.
Listen, it's not. There's a flip side to the coin, too, George. I mean, if every organization just goes out from within and goes and gets something, you never get anything done. Sometimes you have candidates in-house who are worthy, who do deserve a chance. I actually look at the flip side of what you just said. I don't think it was lazy. I think it was guys that they felt earned the right to get a chance. Now, if it doesn't work, Gerard Mayo blows up in your face and or Elliot Wolf blows up in your face, then you blow it up and you go outside because you tried the in-house promotion and it blew up in your face. These things happen. But I think sometimes teams, organizations, industries, I think you can get in trouble when you start going outside for everything. I mean, some of this stuff, and they preach it, is culture, right? Yeah, I get Belichick is gone, and you know, specifically Gerard Mayo really is a disciple of Bill Belichick. But if there are certain things of your culture that you like, not the bad stuff, the good stuff, there's pros and cons for everything. The pros, if you like certain things of the existing culture, then you should promote from within to ensure that you keep that. So sometimes when you go outside and you bring a new guy in, they're going to bring in their culture and how they want to do things. You go get Mike Vrabel, that guy specifically, are you kidding me? He's going to come in here. He's going to want to do it the Mike Vrabel way.
Which works in Tennessee, overperforming with all those rosters.
And by the way,
ultra competitor.
And by the way, Vrabel's way is the Patriot way, right? So I'm not saying it's wrong, but I'm just saying if you have people in-house, you should promote them. I don't think that's lazy. If it doesn't work, you got to scrap it, then go outside and bring them in.
But with Elliot Wolf, keep this in mind too. Completely fumbled the bag in free agency.
Yeah.
You didn't get Calvin Ridley.
Yes.
You can say they overpay, fine. You had the most cap space.
He didn't get anyone.
You didn't get Jonah Williams, that left tackle. So that's why you're going with Caden Wallace into this week one as it looks right now.
That's right.
Tyler Boyd just signed with the Titans. Could have got him.
Yeah, he could have.
I don't care that there's a redundancy in the roster
you're
between
right.
him and KJ Osborne.
You're right.
Get both.
You're
Get
right.
a leader. Get a 9-year vet in that wide receivers room.
Yeah.
Elliot Wolf didn't do that.
Yeah.
Then into the draft. Yes, you got Drake Maye. I'm fine with Jalen Polk. Reliable receiver. But you couldn't trade up and get Xavier Legette. You sat on your hands.
Sure.
68th overall. You go with a
Fair.
right tackle
Fair.
that professional evaluators said, can he move to right guard? Not, can he move to left tackle? That's what you took at 68.
Fair.
Javon Baker, good draft pick. But still so many holes in this roster. That's where the jury's still out on Elliot Wolf, and it will take a few years.
Sure.
This hire with Gerard Mayo, the promotion with both of them.
Yep.
Elliot Wolf and Gerard Mayo, this is a 3-year plan by the Crafts, and that's fine. But it comes back to my criticism is you didn't give it an actual look.
Sure.
You wanted to
You already had your
project
mind made up.
and push this BS kumbaya.
Yeah.
I'm Robert Kraft. Everything is done perfect. Look at what we built up. We promote within. It goes from Bill Belichick to Gerard Mayo. It goes from Bill Belichick to Elliot Wolf. Look at this. Look how everything's working great. We'll get back to being contenders and winning Super Bowls. Better hope it works.
Facts.
Because every other team in the NFL looked outwards and made their coaching searches.
Yep.
And looked outside of their own building.
No doubt.
To reset and put their team back on a big spot, but the Patriots didn't. Hey, for more of this conversation, make sure to check out Boston Has Entered the Chat, dropping daily, Monday through Friday, wherever you get your podcasts, Nesson YouTube, Facebook, Nesson.com, live on Twitch as well. We have a hotline you can call into. Tweet at Trav and I. It's interactive. We want you guys in the fold. But check out Boston Has Entered the Chat, dropping 5 days a week, wherever you get your podcasts and wherever you watch them as well.
Bro, I want to end it with this. And I need your expertise because I'm old school. I pay for the cable bundle, and I'm proud of it. But, George, according to awfulannouncing.com, it'll cost NFL fans damn near $900 this season to watch every NFL game. I mean, what is going on? So now you got to stream these on Amazon, Netflix, Peacock. You get, I mean, George, what the hell's happening? So the NFL now, you have to pay damn near $1,000 to watch every game? I mean, what is this? What is this?
It's like you pay for that cable package. That was great because it used to get you ESPN, Monday Night Football.
That's right.
Fox, CBS, regular Sundays.
Yep.
NBC, Sunday Night Football.
Yep.
And you get the Super Bowl. Now you have it where you need, sounds like Netflix. You need Amazon Prime for Thursday Night Football.
Peacock.
You need Peacock for certain games.
Right.
And playoff games.
Yep.
Need ESPN Plus.
Yep.
If you have YouTube TV, you still, that's basically a modern day cable package. You still need Netflix and Prime and Peacock to watch. So where like it annoys me is that I have the streaming services and I don't have the biggest issue to go from watch ESPN or
Amazon,
Fox, watch Fox, and go to Amazon Thursday night. But one of the best things to do on a Sunday is flip between CBS and Fox.
Yeah.
And the Red Zone. When you have your team playing, 1 o'clock, window's done, 4:25, throw on Red Zone. You just need all this. And like you said, it's going to cost $850 to $1,000 to watch football from September to January.
That's crazy.
Keep in mind the Super Bowl. It's just what is becoming now where everything is a bidding war for the NFL. Because think about what the NFL just did. They got rid of NFL Network because they were losing money. Why would you air games on your own airwaves? Yeah, you make ad dollars, but you can sell a one-off to Netflix. Yep. Think about it like this, where you have a game, Sunday 4:25 window,
right?
And it's let's go Patrick Mahomes against Joe Burrow, and the number 1 seed in the AFC is on the line.
Right.
Just sell that to Netflix or Amazon Prime for $90 million, and they will buy it, and people will follow. So that's what this is becoming.
Yeah.
Yeah, the days of just having the cable login, having it all there, it's gone. And you just can't switch a channel. You have to log out, log in, click, buffer, load. 10 clicks, but that's what it's becoming. It's the NFL has the product. They no longer need the network.
Yep.
And they're going to play their hand. They're just hungry for money. It's Roger Goodell. They just want money.
I
get
want
money. As long as the owners go, wait, so Peacock's going to have a game, but what am I going to get? And they go, you're going to get an extra $5 million this year.
Right.
Wait, for nothing? Cool.
Yeah.
Bring it my way.
Listen, it's good business.
It's greed, man. It's greed.
I understand the business, but here's one thing. The bars have not figured this out. The bars and pubs are struggling with streaming. We just want to get drunk and watch a game. We can't even do it anymore. For all of our best content of the day, make sure you follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. For GB, NTT, Foxboro Rush, that's a wrap. We'll do it again soon. Thanks for watching.